Okay, I think we should be live here. We'll hang out for just a minute, let people jump in, and then we will start talking about Houdini 20.5. New trailer just came out. Make an announcement in Discord. If you haven't joined my Discord, go ahead and do so. The link should be available in the description of any of my videos in this stream as well. Give it just a moment and we will start taking a look. This new trailer, or I guess sneak peek, is pretty exciting. There's a lot going on, a lot of really cool stuff I want to take a look at. Have a little conversation about. I'm very excited. Hopefully there's a storm going on in the background. Hopefully I don't lose power or anything like that. I think it's supposed to be heading out of here, so should hopefully be good. For those of you who are here, how are you guys doing? Hopefully all is well. Like I said, we'll give it just a minute here. We'll give some people some time to join in, and then we shall start talking about the new update. If you guys haven't watched the trailer, let me just pull that up, I suppose. Can give you guys the link to it. Yeah, the preview just came out a few hours ago. There's the link for anybody that's interested. Actually, let me just throw that in the description of the stream as well, if it will let me. I don't even remember where I gotta go. Here we go. Yeah, I got home from work and saw some stuff. Was doing my little rounds on what I normally check, and I saw that there was a new update, not update, but sneak peek of the update, I should say. And took a watch through. It is very jam-packed. Lots of different things going on here. We'll go ahead and start talking about stuff here. So I just got the video pulled up here in Resolve. We're going to kind of go through and kind of step through some of the different things. If you haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend taking a look through, but we're going to cover some of the stuff in here. We'll kind of scroll through and scrub through and take a look at some different things and kind of break some stuff down here. First thing, obviously, from the title that really caught my eye was the new Copernicus, is what they're calling it. It's the new context that basically looks like it's going to be emulating Substance Designer inside of Houdini, which looks incredibly powerful. It is in beta, according to what it shows in the video, so not going to be fully featured or fully fledged out. Will be some issues, I'm sure, but I'm sure that it's in a pretty decent state. I know that they've been hiring for some developers for it for some time, and they've been working on it for a little bit here, just based off of some job postings they've had on their website. So I know it's been getting worked on. So it's cool to finally see some of that stuff. But let's kind of scrub through here. I'm going to just kind of scroll through. First thing, I guess, before we jump through, is cops getting any better? Everyone always complains. So yes, I believe it's getting a total overhaul. It's getting a new context, I guess. Cops is still going to be around, but I'm guessing this is going to be like how Houdini has the old material context, or shops, I guess, and then we have the new material context. I'm thinking that's what it's going to be. So Copernicus is going to take over Cops. I'm guessing you're going to be able to do a lot of different things that you could do inside of Cops in the new Copernicus context. And then it'll still be around, so you can still mess with Cops, because I think that it's going to be needed for legacy stuff. But let's kind of scroll through here. So like I said, I'm in Resolve here. This is as full screen as I can get this, so just bear with me, I guess. But so we got some interesting things here. The first thing I noticed is the first few things that we really go through, I can just kind of play it, I guess, is a bunch of different simulations. So looks like they're focusing quite heavily on simulations here. You can see we got some different rigid bodies. This is like grains, definitely some grain stuff going on here as well. This is a really, really nice shot, actually. I really like this shot. And it looks like it has some information here as well as far as who made it, so that's cool. Very well done. Robin Sick. 7:55 a.m. here. Hope to catch up next time. Yeah, so this stream will be available as a video, so you can watch through it if you're interested later. Is there a new solver coming? Yes, I think so. There's a new multi-solver. We'll get to that. We'll get to that here in a minute. But obviously, new grain stuff, a lot of simulation stuff to start out with, which is really nice to see. Seeing each other, got tons of questions. Yes, so do I. So lots of different things going on here. And then they start to jump into stuff here. So looks like we've got MPM. So no idea. Material point method solver. So this looks like a new solver. I'm not exactly sure. Material point method solver. I don't necessarily read up on papers and stuff, so I'm not sure if this is something that's new that's been around in some other softwares. SideFX is usually pretty quick to jump into new technology, so maybe this is something that's new. Looks like we got a few different things here. So looks like we've got some different presets that we can drop down. Yeah, multi-something. There's a multi-solver. I don't know if that's related to this material point method solver or not. But we've got this NPM collider, NPM configure, container, solver, source. Those looks like that's probably going to be the default nodes that you can kind of place down and work with and build everything around those. But then we've got some different like presets here. So we got landslide, pancakes, building collapse, jello party. That sounds interesting. Metal tearing, rolling snowball, rubber pig, sand instances, spinning tire. They show the spinning tire one. That looks really cool. And then wine glass is the last one. So let's keep on going through here. This is the spinning tire one here. So this looks really cool. It looks like they've got some different materials going on. Really kind of looks like this is grain. So it looks like it's simulating things kind of like grains. But obviously we have like what looks like water here. So it looks like maybe it's simulating multiple things, just kind of based around like points, sort of like the other solvers do, but also different at the same time. So take a look through here. Once this starts playing, this is really cool. This looks like it's probably in like a slow motion type thing, but this is really nice. So there's obviously we got our sand here. We've got some wet sand. And then we've got water going on. This is super cool. So we can see the Flippy is flying through the water, and then this one's moving towards the water, and they all seamlessly play together. I think it's two-way coupling solver. Yeah, maybe. I know that's kind of possible, somewhat with some different methods inside of Houdini right now. But click play here. We see that we get some nice wet sand going on here, and all this is interacting with this water, which is super nice. So that's one thing that's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do inside of Houdini, is to get solvers to, or actually really anything, is to get solvers to play nicely together. I know that Weta has like their own thing that they have made to kind of do this type of stuff, but it's nice to see this inside Houdini. This interaction looks really, really nice, and looks like at least this small scale where we have this water, the small scale water looks pretty good in my opinion. We'll continue on playing. So we get some stats going up here. So let's see, point separation 0.0125, grid scales 2, stub steps. Looks like, okay, so we have a min and a max sub steps here. So maybe this is like it uses sub steps kind of where it's needed. Maybe, I don't know. This is all speculation. I have no idea. I don't know how this works at all. If any of you guys have seen a paper or anything on this, then let me know. But it looks like this multi-solver is going to be maybe based around that MPM stuff that we just talked about. So again, we've got grains going on here. That's some nice movement in the water and the wet sand going on. Does the sand get wet as we go? It does. So it looks like you can change between materials. So it's got some different settings here as well. So collider settings, that's nothing out of the ordinary. Substep count 234. Yeah, okay, so look, that's if you look here, as we scroll through, so 234, but this jumps down to 219 or 218. So it looks like the substeps is a variable thing. So sounds like it's going to be sort of like almost like a renderer in a sense, where it's going to use more if it needs it and less if it doesn't. So it'll be able to kind of dynamically adjust and move faster or slower depending on what it needs, or sim more depending on what it needs. So pretty cool there. So again, that's just the same thing. Then we go on to this crowd procedural for Karma and Hydra render delegates. So this first one, not a lot of agents, but they quickly move into a ton of different agents. Get up to 2,000 and then up to 5,000. So a ton of different agents. It's good to see that they're bringing in the crowd procedurals. I know we got some procedurals in Houdini 20, but I guess we were missing a crowd one. I don't mess around with crowds all that much. Then we move on to some RBD stuff. So this is the car rig. They implemented this in Houdini 20. They did show it off. I haven't actually checked it out, but it looks like they've kind of built upon this, which is pretty cool. So they've got some different things in here. So this says RBD car rig with path animation, dynamic suspensions, and deformable tires. So that's pretty cool. Doing some different things with RBD, get some different effects, cool effects. This render that they do here of this animation of the cars colliding is pretty sweet. I haven't played around with this. If you guys played around with this inside Houdini 20, probably pretty fun. I've seen some stuff of people driving the car around some geometry and some different things, so kind of cool. So again, we get our collision here. Got some smoke and some different things going on here. Nice little render that they got playing here. But that's not too out of what we've seen. Then we scroll through here. We have Karma XPU per instance overrides. So that's going to be these cars, it looks like. Just some per instance stuff with XPU that was missing before. You have randomized color and intensity on instance lights. So inside, this is actually inside of Solaris, which is pretty sweet. So we have some things that we didn't have access to before inside of here. Let's see if we can spot anything that they didn't include in this. So this is running off of CPU. So I'm wondering, I guess, will we see this only available for CPU, or will this be available for XPU as well? off the get-go. I don't see anything like hidden in here. Let's scrub through a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know. Then they give some different things here. So this is, again, just going to be the lights. So you can change the color and intensity. So got some different hues going on with these lights, which is pretty cool. Just some nice things to see with that for Karma XPU. Scrolling here, we have a new material. So quick surface material for geometry and volumes. This is very interesting to me. I don't think they... So I'm curious how this is going to work. This is just... Let's see. So we have... This is going to be like the interface for it. So we have quick surface material. Okay, so they've got the node selected here. Is this just going to be like a viewport thing? And then you're going to have your final render stuff going on in the actual material? It's kind of what it looks like to me. So let's see. Yeah, so looks like this may just be a okay, quick surface material with all texturing and shading parameters in one place. So maybe this is a pre-set up thing, just like a pre-set up Karma material that allows you to put everything all in one place. So they kind of built a little bit towards this in Houdini 20 with the addition of the PBR texture set node. So maybe this is building upon that, just trying to give everything all in one place. So it's basically like an Uber shader type thing. That's what it looks like to me. Feel free to share your opinions. This is, again, all working in Solaris. So this is interesting. It switches at this point to true displacements. Let's go ahead and play this a little bit, and then I'll stop it. Yeah, so this is an interesting shot right here with true displacement. So these displacement looks really, really good. Very, very nice stuff. And this is rendering on XPU as well. So not something that's going to be limited to CPU, so that's nice. Bar display color. Not seeing anything hidden in here. Got fur stuff going on. That's interesting. So shader ball. Okay, yeah, so this is not even... this is different. Not even like a preview surface. Interesting. Let's play through a little bit more. So we have a new Karma sky atmosphere lot with natural absorption and haze. This new atmosphere thing looks pretty cool. Definitely some good looks that are coming from this shot right here. And then they move on to some more feather stuff from Andrei Vilachenko. Probably absolutely murdered this. This is a very beautiful render of this bird. Really, really like this. But we have wing and feather rigging and animation. This is actually pretty interesting. So there's some different... I haven't messed around. I'm guessing this is the new... what is it, Kinefx or whatever, or Apex rigging system. So we'll play through here. I haven't messed with this at all. Rigging is something I haven't touched in Houdini at all. But this looks pretty interesting. So non-destructive animation layers. So different things going on here. Looks like you have the ability to maybe change the weights of some of these, turn them on and off, and then you can see some different things. So there, let me just back up a little bit. So you see he's going to turn on some of these different layers, and we get some added movement in here. He hits that one, unlocks it, and now it's kind of moving side to side, which is pretty sweet. So you can turn that on and off based off of how you need it. really like this shot. All right, then we moved on to real-time ragdoll physics with posing. And then this is pretty cool. So there's some changes to the quad remesher. So in Houdini 20, we got a new quad remesher that allowed us to actually go in and remesh very, very quickly some meshes into quads. And you could kind of guide the quad remesh. But it looks like they've really refined that here. We'll take a look. So it looks like they're doing a group based off of the minimum edge length, and then they're going to use that to really drive the remesh here. So you can see they're plugging it in. So this isn't anything that we haven't taken a look at on this channel. It looks like this interface hasn't really changed. This is something that we've looked at before. So basically the same that we had before as far as guides go. And you can see the difference here as far as the guides. Let's zoom in here, take a look at the difference. So you can see that we get, without the guides, we get these kind of weird, I don't want to call them errors, but some weird geometry going on right here. Let's see where else. So if you look over here, it's kind of cleaned up a little bit. And then the geometry follows things just a little bit better, looks like. So we get some, this looks a little weird actually right here. See, we don't have that over here. So that's maybe something that they need to refine with the guides a little bit. Let's see if we can dive in and find any other glaring differences. You know, it actually does a pretty good job, I'd say, at remeshing this. But in the eyeballs here, you can see that we get some kind of weirdness going on. And in here, you can see that this is going to remesh a lot better with those guides following that, or driving that, I should say. Excuse me. Yeah, so let's just keep on motoring through. Here's another example. So guides off and guides on. You can see that things just kind of flow over this like little bumps. We kind of get an edge following along that a little bit here. Yeah, some better flowing of the topology along in this section. So it looks like it does a little bit better of a job. Maybe kind of hard to tell with these examples, but it'd be interesting to see this on an actual character where we have some guides that maybe go around the eyeballs. Okay, so now we have a planar inflate stop. So this is kind of like they're building it into like almost like a pillow maker, but it's kind of like a sculpting for like cloth. That's the word I was looking for. So you can see we generate some pillow-like shape here. They remesh it, and then we go in here, and then we have, it says fast sculpting with convenient brush tool set for high resolution meshes. So let's take a look at this. So we have the sculpt tool. Doesn't look like anything that shows really what's going on here yet. This is more like a move set. So it looks like it works pretty quick. Looks like they've been kind of working pretty heavily on the sculpting here recently. Let's actually go back here. I missed that. So OpenCL based wrinkle deformer for real-time wrinkles. So let's look in this setting. So obviously get a lot of very harsh wrinkles going on there. Then we jump over here. So we have this wrinkle deformer. So we got some different things here. So constraint iterations, neighbor, and rest length scale. So this is basically kind of going to be like just a quick version of setting up something in Vellum. Is what it's looking like. So maybe it doesn't give you as, you know, accurate results or controllable results, but looks like it does a pretty decent job. This deformer looks pretty good, I would say. All right, so now we start to jump into Copernicus. So this is what's really exciting to me. So there's a lot going on here, and we're going to break down some things because I noticed some stuff that I think is going to be very, very cool. So Copernicus, a brand new image processing COP context. So maybe this is built into COPs. You still go through the COP context. I don't know. But obviously we're able to generate some patterns and stuff, and then it's outputting textures. So basically Substance Designer inside of Houdini, which is a very welcome thing. It's something that I have looked into with COPs before, but it wasn't something that I thought was really all that viable in its current state. But some real-time results going on here, or what I'm assuming are probably real-time results. And then it looks like it's also leveraging the new Vulkan viewport. So if you don't know, in Houdini 20, they put in I don't even think it was a beta. I think it was like an alpha of their the Vulkan implementation. So you can enable it, but there was a lot of things that just were not very good with it. Had some issues, and it should allow you to have some faster viewport performance with Vulkan enabled. So by default, that's going to be enabled in the future, but it's not quite here yet. So it'll be interesting to see if 20.5 has it enabled by default. But it says Vulkan geometry rasterization to create seamless tileable textures and more. So as you can see here, it's using Vulkan, it looks like, to generate the textures. So we have a simulation. It looks to be a simulation going on here. Just like a normal RBD simulation. And that is baking out to textures, which is pretty sweet. So again, here we get a first look at what would be Copernicus. Kind of can't really tell what these nodes really are. But you can see that we get, this looks like it says rasterize something. So we get some different things that are spit out. So this looks like the normal map, curvature. Actually, this says ID map. So ID, curvature, occlusion, height, and alpha. And then they're pumping it into a remap node here. And then over here, it looks like this is going to be the material output. So we will be able to bake to materials, and we have some different settings that we'll eventually see there. So then we've got a normal remap node, and they do some stuff here, remapping. That all moved very, very quickly, so let's step that back. So let's see. Do they flip to the next node? So right here. So here you can see they've now wired this in. And I'm guessing they're wiring this into the height. It looks like they're wiring this into the height input. And we get this output. So this is probably using height fields to display this. That's what it looks like. But we have our preview material here. So this is what I'm talking about. This is this over here that's being displayed. So we have a height scale, normal scale. So transmission says karma only, and subsurface scattering karma only. So curious to see what that is going to mean. We have emission, sheen. I guess maybe you have to render this. I bet you that's what this is. So this is probably like a GL viewport, and then you can switch to a karma viewport, if I would have to guess. And that's where this transmission and subsurface scattering would show up. I'm guessing, so that would be like you're in Substance Designer, you have like the NVIDIA, I don't know, whatever it's called. They have a renderer in Substance Designer that you can actually render out stuff with. So I'm guessing that's basically they're using Karma for that inside of Houdini. So let's scroll through a little bit more here. So they lay down another node here. So this is a fractal noise. So we're going to have some different noises. We'll see that here in a second. We have some different noises that we're going to be able to use inside of Houdini 20.5 in this Copernicus thing. So see, we have 3D noise. So we have some different noise types here. Curious to see what those will say. This is pretty generic for Houdini. It looks like we have a signature here. This says mono, so I'm guessing that refers to black and white. And then maybe they'll have a color or something else. Let's scroll through here. So they wire this into a couple different things. Can't quite read what they say. This looks like it says maximum. So again, just more nodes that we would see inside of like Substance Designer. This looks almost like it says bright. Is that what's selected? Yeah, bright 1. Okay. So looks like just like a color correct type thing. Something like a gamma node maybe. Let's scroll through. So again, we get okay, so we have a height to ambient occlusion. So you get a 2D view of this. So a pretty standard node for something like Substance Designer. Okay, and then oops. This all moves very, very quickly, so I'm trying to scroll through the best I can. All right, let's get back to preview material. So they're just adding that. It's hard to say what they're adding that to. Can't read that, unfortunately. They're adding that into something. And obviously we get a slightly different look here. Looks like maybe like a normal or something, because they add that to the background. If we see we didn't have this noise, this kind of dirt-like texture in the background before. Okay, and then they use a color ramp to colorize the different IDs. So we have a color ramp node here, some different settings. So we have a seed. So again, this is the ID map that they're plugging into this. And then that's generating color based off of the ramp. Again, pretty standard stuff for Substance. We have an invert node. Expect to see that. So they place that down along with a blend node. And something here. Oh, that's the invert. That's the invert. And then a blend node. And they're blending things together. Stoked about the Vulkan viewport. Can't wait to see it go beyond feature parity in 21. Is that when it's supposed to come out of beta or whatever and go straight to being the default viewer? Is Houdini 21? Is that what they've said? All right, so starting to type stuff in here. Looks like they have a remap node, a resample, size reference, a bounding rectangle, and SDF rebuild. So quite a few different things that we have available to us inside of this Copernicus. What is this? All right, so we got another remap. Again, they're just building out materials here. Pretty standard stuff for Substance Designer, but pretty new to Houdini 20. All right, so this is interesting. I'm gonna play here. So this is kind of where the seamless tiling comes in here. You can see them. They've got like a grid going on basically. So again, we have some tiling that we can see here, but they play around. You can play around with the different sizing of stuff and get some different things. And then we have this live material painting on 3D geometry. So this looks pretty interesting. So we have a texture mask paint, and it's gonna kind of it's going to blend between the materials. So right now it's feature parity, I was told. Next iteration will bring new visual goodies. Hopefully out of beta quickly. Are you saying in Houdini 20 it's feature parity with GL? Because it's definitely not from what I've seen. Or it's definitely got some bugs at the very least. Or maybe are you saying in 20.5? Let's take a play here real quick. So this is pretty cool. So you see that this is kind of like something that you would see in like Mixer or Substance Painter, where we have like a height map, basically. I'm wondering if this isn't a height map that is being fed into this texture, and then we are painting the new material into those crevices. 20.5 has feature parity. That would be super nice. Hopefully it's not got the bugs that 20 has, because it was not usable in 20 in my opinion. It's in the release notes that they've reached parity. Is there a release notes somewhere online, or are you just talking about in the like scrolling section of the end of the video here, which we will take a look at? But yeah, this looks pretty cool. And again, more paint-driven texture creation. So we had some of this, hints of this inside of 20. We've taken a look at that on the channel. You see here we have UV-based animated texture with procedural noise patterns. So some different things going on here. It looks like this is maybe all kind of part of this Copernicus thing. Looks pretty cool here, like the little rustedness. And then this says seamless connection between Copernicus and USD shading, lighting, and rendering. So I'm guessing that everything that you're seeing inside of this render right here is made inside of Copernicus as far as textures go, which if that is the case, wow, because there's a lot of different textures here, a lot of different patterns. You see we got some different things going on here and here on the bowls and stuff, and that'd be super, super sweet to see inside of Houdini. End of the video. Okay, yeah, so we'll take a look at that here in a bit. So just taking a look through. So this is where they start to show off really some of the power of Copernicus. So you can see we're in here. So building out some stuff. So this is the normal, texture image view, and then this is like a 3D viewport, I'm guessing, 2D, 3D viewport. So it says blue is blending nodes, gray is shape nodes, and orange is coloring nodes. So a bunch of different, typical things inside of Houdini for what's the word I'm looking for? Organization. So this is typical of something you'd see inside of Substance. We've got just a bunch of shapes building upon each other. Let's see. Let's kind of scroll through this. So they're building out some of the different circles, the different rings. We've got some different shape nodes here. Let's see if we can identify some of these. So SDF shape. SDF to mono. Got a blend and invert transform, blend, remap, transform, a SOP import. So that's going to be interesting. I'll touch on that when we look at that here in a minute, as they show some of that, I think. SDF shape, SDF to mono. Again, another SOP import here and here. Stamp point. And another stamp point along with a blend. Mono to something I can't quite read. It's more blend and mono nodes here. So it says unlimited non-destructive texture design. Again, that's something that we've been talking about. So So they're just kind of stepping through some of this stuff. It looks like we got some more stuff here. So a little bit easier to read some of these. So a lot of SDF to shape nodes going on, or SDF shape or SDF to mono nodes going on, along with transforms and blends, typical, you know, substance designer-esque stuff. I'm curious to see, so it looks like this stamp point is kind of like a copy to points, or like a stamp node where you can, like this shows it in a circle. So just like copying, like a copy and transform almost. So I got some interesting stuff going on with that shape generation. See if we can identify anything new in here. I don't know if I can read any of this. Yeah, I can't read any of that. All right, we'll keep moving on here. You think you can animate textures? You absolutely, not only can you animate textures, you can simulate two textures. That's something that they show that is very, very interesting. So I'm just actually going to play through a little bit of this. They go through a lot of the different stuff. I think it's going to be a lot of the similar stuff. Maybe some of this is going to be different. Except that this was color design, but I got some fractal noise there. Fractal noise, height to something, ambient occlusion. Let's see. Can't really read any of that. Let's just play through a little bit more. And then they show the final design here. Which, is this something that we saw in that render? Yes, it is right there. So this leads me to believe again that everything that you're seeing in this image, in this render, as far as textures go, is done inside of Copernicus. And actually, guys, give me just a moment. I didn't get anything to drink, and my throat's starting to cut out a little bit. So give me just a minute. Let me grab something to drink real quick, and I will be right back. All right, I am back. Sorry about that. I wasn't fully prepared for the stream. I wasn't planning on streaming tonight, but had to because this came out and I wanted to take a look at it, have a discussion. So let's go ahead and play on through this. So lots of really cool stuff here. They clearly had somebody that knew what they were doing inside of like Substance to do this. Very, very nicely done. And look at the detail on this. This is crazy. There's so much detail going on in here. So much detail. And it holds up with how close they're getting too, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to guess that this is also done inside of Copernicus. And this is basically just except for maybe the top, very top of this. I'm guessing this is just like a swept and revolved shape. And none of this detail is modeled. And this looks really, really nicely. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So this is where you say we can animate textures. We can not only animate, we can simulate inside of SOPs and bring that into Copernicus. So resolution independent dynamic simulation data into Copernicus. Let's take a look at what this shows. So simulation going inside of SOPs, and then we jump into Copernicus. So we got a SOP import. So this is getting the UVs, it looks like, or it's importing the geometry and then projecting into UV space to rasterize the geo to. So this is how they're basically doing it. They're getting the geo. They're projecting the points onto where they would be at in the UV space, which technically I think you could actually do inside of Houdini 20. You'd have to sample like everything and place it into a UV space. You could do it inside of Vex, I think. And then they're rasterizing that out. Piped into a null, and then we've got another SOP import where they're importing the VDB, and we have an OpenCL node here. So we're sampling the VDB, we're doing a dilate and erode, or an erode node, so it's dilating. You can see what's happening here. So it's importing that simulation. Then we've got a blur node inside of Copernicus. They're then blurring that out. And this is actually really cool. I'm going to play through this actually. So we've got this is where they show that it's actually moving through UV space. So that's the actual simulation playing in UV space, being live projected into like a texture. Pretty cool stuff. Very exciting in my opinion. So let's see if we can get this in between frame. Come on. Can I step through? Just, I don't use the color page of Resolve very much. I was hoping I could like step through a tiny bit, like frame by frame almost. There we go. Okay. So generating a wet map. Mono to RGB, then we have a remap here and another remap, and then it moves on to the preview. Okay, so this is where we have the preview material. So we can see all of the outputs here. So base color, metalness. So basically this is just a normal, material out node. So anything you see here, we can output, I'm guessing. So we can bake all of these textures out from what it looks like. Let's go ahead and jump through a little more. Okay, and then you can see that this is now being applied onto the actual mesh. So let's see, this is playing along. And then look, you've got displacement and everything else going on here. So you can see got displacement right on the skin. This doesn't look like the best example necessarily as far as like what it's fully capable of, but I think that there's going to be a lot to do with this. And then they do some more simulation stuff. So we have NPR and tune shading. So this is pretty interesting. Actually, I didn't realize this when I was watching it. This is actually still all inside of Copernicus. So let's look through. Wow, there's a lot going on here. Okay. Okay, so this is the COPS part of Copernicus, it looks like. So this is where they're like the Houdini 20 COPS part of Copernicus. This is where they are doing like a compositing type thing going on. So we got a bunch of different things going on here. Let's scroll through. Let's see. All right, got that. So here we got some of the different passes. We got a denoise AI node. So that's interesting. I wonder if that's going to be, oh, it says right here. Looks like we have optics and probably the Odin denoisers still being used for this. We've got a Kuahara filter. Yeah, that's a node. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right at all. But this looks like it's, I mean, you can kind of see what it's doing here. More stuff in relation to the NPR renderer. Let's go grab that last frame. All right, so we've got another view going on here. I'm not gonna be able to read any of that. So we've got a, oh, that's still the same Kuahara filter. So RGBA to RGB. Edge detect. Wow, edge detect by contour. So this is how it's getting the edge shading that we saw. So I'm surprised that this isn't. It doesn't look like this is going to be directly inside of Karma. It's going to be a post-process thing, which is an interesting choice. While I think that it's going to be, you know, pretty powerful based off of what I'm seeing all inside of Copernicus. Curious to see how this is going to be used versus something like Nuke or Fusion or After Effects or whatever your compositor of choice is. Looks like there's going to be quite a bit to this. So I did look at a little bit of COPS compositing and Houdini 20, but it's missing quite a bit and kind of hard to work with. All right, so a lot of different things going on here. We've got some sub networks. Kind of hard to break this down. So a regroup node, or nope, that's just a sub network. Interesting. So OBJ tune. Huh. Interesting. Let's keep going through this. So got a ramp node. It's typical blends. All right, so there you see the output of their, which actually that looks, now that I see it close like this looks really good actually. I really like that NPR style. And then we have this more of a different style, edge detecting and cross-hatching type stuff going on. And then we've got some new machine learning stuff. So Onyx interface node for image-based machine learning. I haven't really messed around with any of this machine learning stuff, but we can do some different filters and stuff like that. Not really my forte. Not something that I'm super interested in, but you know, new stuff for the people that are. Okay, so this looks really, really intriguing. Recipes framework for parameter presets. So this says parameter presets, but from what it looks like, this is basically like a shelf-esque type thing where we can just pick a preset and it drops down like a whole node network. Let me just play through this and then we'll look through this. So again, they're just using different recipes. And then we have this recipe manager. So we'll go through this here in a second. But look, you can see that they have this, and they just drop that down and you get some different code here. This is really interesting though. They make this fire simulation into a recipe and then boom, they've got it. So let's just walk back through this real quick. Get to the start here. Okay, so you can right click on a node and we have this new recipes dialog that we'll have available to us. We can save selected items as tool or save node preset. We also have the recipe help. All right, so then they click on save selected as tool, and then you get some different preset options. So capture keyframe and expressions, show for font stop nodes, font width H. Okay. So what did they do there? So we're going back down to, all right, so we have node presets. So this is like a, okay, font with Houdini 20, font with recipe. I don't know necessarily what's going on there. Oh, okay, so it's changing the value of the text. All right, so now we have this new window here. Okay, just keep in mind Cops3 is not a replacement for Substance yet. There are plans to try and attract those users in 21 and 20.5. Just temper expectations. It's great, but yeah, obviously it's in beta. Copernicus is in beta. I saw that in the credits that we'll take a look at in a little bit. But yes, it does look very, very promising from where it's at so far. But obviously with it being in beta, there's going to be things that are not working, but are going to be hopefully fixed in the future. And I'm excited for all that. I'm not really looking to jump back into the Adobe wheelhouse, but hopefully this will allow me to not do that. All right, but anyways, we have this recipe manager here. So we have, okay, so title over here, pattern shows you what type of SOP. Pattern is what SOP it is, I guess. Or what, I guess it doesn't have to be a SOP. I guess it could be a LOP or, you know, a ROP or whatever. And then we have a type. So we have different types. We have a node preset and a decoration. Curious as to what that means. Gonna have some different verbiage for those. All right, so then they click recipes, save as, what does that say? Save as tool. Is that what they're clicking? Yep. Oh, okay, hold on. So we have save items as tool, preset, or as decoration. I don't know what a decoration would be. That's intriguing. So then this brings up basically like a new node network that shows you what's going to be in there. So we have save dive targets, node contents, only save nodes. So we have an icon, a custom icon that we can set as well. So we have a tab submenu here. So you can create tools. So basically, we kind of had this before, right? So you can take a selection of nodes and drag them directly onto your shelf. This is basically that, but inside of your tab network. So you create a tool recipe that you can drop down. And actually, we kind of have this already in Houdini 20 with, and I think this was probably their precursor to it. They're like a test to see how it would, you know, work, or how well it would work, and if people liked it. And that was in Houdini 19.5 inside of the Solaris context. We have the asset builder. If you remember the asset builder, we have a tab menu node that we can place down that then places down 4 nodes. So save to user preferences, and then we've got an internal name. So it's typical stuff that you'd see with like a tool that you're building. So they're gonna name that, and then this pops up in here for each with recipe tab tool. So we'll don't have a pattern with this, but we've got a new type called tab tool. Interesting. I don't know what this decoration is. curious what that means. But then again, we have this new menu that pops up now. So we have our tab recipes menu that is going to be like basically a custom menu where we can place all of our tools. And this is something that I saw on Reddit. Someone made like a Vex library of a ton of different things that you can just like select and it'll bring over like their code. This kind of, I would guess, is going to be able to replace that and native to Houdini. So that's kind of interesting. Not necessarily the exact same thing, but it's a way to do that sort of a similar thing. So you place it down. You have let's see if we can get this to pop up. Where do they click here? Oh, inspect. Okay, so you can inspect and you can get the code for this, which is pretty cool. Is this in Python maybe? I don't know. I don't know how to recognize the code just from looking at it. But we get the code for this, so you can kind of see how things are made, which could help. If this is in Python, could help, help you learn Python. So that's pretty interesting as well. Look through here. Try to get that frame. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys know if that's if that is how that works, then, or if that is Python, then let me know. Looks like JSON. You're right. I guess that does look like JSON from what I've seen, which would make sense because Houdini makes that, or is using that quite a bit. But it looks like here actually, so it's actually creating a recipes HDA that may include all of your recipes. So maybe everything's saved into one recipes HDA and you could distribute that out to other people if you create a bunch of useful recipes. That'd be kind of interesting. Or I wonder if it'll create a different recipe HDA for each individual recipe that you make. We shall find out. So, okay, so then looks like they maybe made, there's a lot going on here. What are the Korg's print? Okay, that's interesting. I don't think that's something we normally have. Then we have this show changes. So it looks like they've made a bunch of changes to the network, and it shows you're able to look and see what all has been changed inside of that recipe. And you can save them, the updated recipe if you'd like. Sparks, okay. And recipe sparks from simulation. So this is like a preset or something. I'm not really sure. But then it just creates everything that they did. Okay. So then we get some Substance Designer-esque examples. A lot of different examples going on here. Let's kind of step through some of them really quick. So pretty nice detail. This is pretty cool. This is a really nicely done material. It's pretty nice. Looks like these are all done by Nicola. I'm not going to try to pronounce that last name. I'm going to butcher it. But this individual right here seems pretty talented. So different materials, and then this flower. This is pretty cool. So looks like this is, okay, slap comp network. So we have a slap comp network. whatever. So this is inside of the stage context. I don't even remember this part of the video. Hold on, go back. So CopNet slap comp. Huh. Not sure all what's going on there. Then we get some more simulation stuff. Pretty cool. It's all probably with that new solver. Hopefully it's pretty quick. It looks like it's not terrible. This is the NPR rendering, and then we start to get into some of the new stuff that they have. Okay, so I'm going to skip past some of this. KineFX and rigging stuff. Not going to look at Solaris. We will take a look at. All right, so USD 24.03 and MaterialX 1.38.1. Ability to look through LOP cameras and SOPs. Okay, so we did technically have this before. You just had to do a little workaround, an extra step. Glad that they've made that little quality of life change. If you don't know how to do this inside of Houdini 20, you go back to SOPs, you import your LOP camera into SOPs, and then you can look through it. But it'd be nice to not have to do that. So significant enhancements to Stage Manager, including viewport interaction, many improvements to cloning, multi-AOV snapshots data window. Okay. Quick surface material and quick cloud material. LOPs for fast shader creation. So again, we looked at that. Probably just a karma thing. Easier importing and editing of USD materials from files. That was definitely something that was kind of a pain in the butt, in my opinion, to edit USD materials. So we'll see what that brings. Animated shader parameters for background plate LOP, access to geometry subsets and varied material assignment LOP. Handy way to create and bind materials using USD material path SOP attribute. Okay. Ability to pre-declare specific primitives, activation, visibility with prune LOP. Ability to set asset metadata on properties with configure properties LOP. Geometry color LOP to quickly set geometry color and opacity in USD. That'd be kind of nice. Dedicated LOP to create draw mode texture cards. Okay. Oh, I went too far. Okay. USD material support for USD packed primitives and SOP viewport. Crowd procedural we saw in the video. 5 to 6 times faster importing of large crowds into LOPs. So that's definitely good as well. Easier configuration of samples for crowd motion blur. Ability to transfer feather velocity to LOPs for accurate motion blur. Acceleration blur support for Houdini hair procedural. Enhanced tool set for deeper understanding of Hydra rendering. Jumped past. Sorry, it's really hard to go like frame by frame in Resolve, but I don't have any other way of getting that a nice large view of this. The JSON/recipe thing, I think, is an extension of the plugins concept that is itself an extension of the environment variables. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it kind of plays out. I'm curious to see if people are really going to use it all that much, or if they're going to be just kind of like a gimmick thing. Because, like, I mean, technically, you kind of had some of this stuff if you created a shelf. You could do basically the same thing. But I think I'll probably use it. I don't know. We'll see. I like to personally, everyone wants to save time, and I definitely think that's a good thing. But there's also something to be said about rebuilding your setups and just hammering into your brain how to do certain things, because there's so much to be done inside Houdini. You can do so many different things inside Houdini that it's very easy to forget things. And so constantly rebuilding setups is a great way to continue to remember how to do certain things. It's also part of why I make videos, so I can train my brain to remember. All right, RBD lap procedural to cache and render large RBD simulations in USD. Convenient RBD instruction lap option to only fracture or simulate. Interesting. Substantial speed improvements for RBDs, SOP import support for USD24, extended subset geotypes, support for SOP tetrahedral meshes and new USD tet mesh primitive type. Performance boost to Karma render properties and settings on large scenes. Nice. One-click UI to camera lap to create lens material node. Karma sky atmosphere lap we saw. Oh, go back. Damn it. I was trying to get that to play. Just a couple frames. I went too far. All right. Karma CPU and XPU. Volumetric atmosphere rendering with natural absorption haze. Again, that's what we kind of saw. Blue noise support for better and less obvious noise patterns. Slap comp support in Karma. Husk and ROPS. We saw a little brief snippet of that. Acceleration motion blur on curves and meshes. OP syntax support for live texture referencing. That, no doubt, has to do with the Copernicus. No doubt. So you're going to be able to stream your textures live to Karma, XPU, and CPU from your Copernicus things. So you don't even have to bake out textures, is what I'm hearing. And I am curious how that is going to work for memory consumption. That could be very interesting. USD-friendly lens shader workflow. Ability to disable displacement shading completely. Okay. Ability to prevent holdouts from contributing to non-LPE AOVs. Do holdouts even work? I thought they were broken. Maybe not. Support for OpenCV distortion constants and Karma physical lens FOP. OpenIO deep image support for and EXR compatibility with Nuke. So something that was missing for positors. Open color IO file rules to match these patterns. Zero discrepancy between Karma hair and fur for standard lobes. Overall closer visual match between the CPU and XPU. Very, very nice. Odin denoiser 2.2 is GPU support on some systems. If you don't know, by the way, it's not Odin, it's like Oiden, but I call it Odin. Anyways, you actually don't have to bake in your denoiser even in Houdini 20. You don't have to bake in your denoiser. You can test it out in like your live render view, and then you can just render out your animation all noisy, and you can see which denoiser is going to work best later on through cops. You can use either the Odin or the NVIDIA denoiser, so you don't have to lock yourself into one. Just FYI if you didn't know that. Anyways, CPU improved rendering of partially opaque surfaces. Nice. CPU support for volume primitives and ambient occlusion AUVs. Bump shadow terminator. XPU. We have fast performance due to adaptive sampling / variance oracle. So they redid some of that adaptive sampling wasn't in XPU. I don't think. 2 to 3 times faster ray tracing shader execution on Ada Lovelace. Which generation is that? Is that the 4090 generation, or the 4000 series, or is that the 3000? I don't remember. I think that's the 4,000, I want to say. So XPU per instance overrides, we saw some of that. Cryptomat optimizations for tiled rendering. Support for MaterialX ambient occlusion. MaterialX emission attenuated by Schlick-Fresnel weight. MaterialX monochromatic opacity as defined in standard surface spec. Multi-threaded writing of deep image data. So you could export deep image if you had the need for it. So nice to see that they're improving the quality for that, I suppose. Support for texture quality inputs, support for use of Coat B SDF label and LPE AOVs, ability to output motion vectors and velocity AOVs. That is very, very nice because that means that you are going to be able to do motion blur more nicely in comp. Very nice to see that. XPU background plate vex to MaterialX to match CPU. Background plate holdout support. Okay, maybe that's what was broken in XPU that I was thinking of. Disk and oriented disk point rendering modes. All right, and then we have this Vulkan viewport. So beta nearly complete feature parity with OpenGL viewport. So it's nice. Hopefully it's a lot closer to feature parity than what we have in 20. Higher quality display in many scenarios. So if you don't know, that's kind of the whole point of Vulkan is to get more viewport performance, and it seems to do a decent job when it does work. Improved light shading and shadowing for area and distance lights. Improved height field wireframe representation. Multi-threaded updates and rendering. So part of that is with the new context. So we saw that Vulkan is going to be used to actually render out the textures. More configurable ambient occlusion, ability to render with arbitrary camera clipping planes. Infinite viewing plane when not looking through camera. Native display of next generation COPS in 3D viewer, also for OpenGL. So sounds like you'll be able to use your normal OpenGL viewport for the new COPS as well as the Vulkan. Partial support for Karma Material Builder materials. Enabled by default. Okay, enabled by default. That means that it's like ready to go. I would say if it's still in beta, they're probably pretty confident that it is basically done. But they just want to make sure that they iron out those little bugs. Oh, okay. RTX 6000 was Ada Lovelace. Yeah, only $10,000. Feel free to send one my way if you're not using it. No, yeah, not applicable to a lot of users. What I'm reading. Dedicated nodes. So this is PDG. So scroll through. You can kind of read some of that. I'm not going to cover a lot of this because I don't use PDG or TOPS very much. Houdini engine. I'm going to read through this just because I am interested. But nothing more than that. All right. Mini performance optimizations to Houdini engine. Performance analysis monitoring for support for Houdini engine API. Sample H-engine Python application for skip-based integrations. Asynchronous access to all attribute getters and setters. Don't know what a lot of this means because I don't use Houdini engine at all really, but I've considered it. Shared memory buffer, improved exporting of landscape layers to Unreal. So a lot of stuff with Unreal. I've considered messing with it, but I kind of get pissed off with Unreal's materials. I don't really like the way they work. Support for baking of data layers to Unreal. Mini kineffects and skeletal mesh interchange improvements. Improved geo import compatibility via data tables, skeletal meshes, and more. Round tripping of Unreal animation assets using Houdini motion clips. Nice. Fully featured node sync with world actors. Ability to iterate even more rapidly on Unreal content creation with node sync. Okay, there's a lot of this. Here is some more. So Max 20.5 and my 20.5. Can read through some of this. All right, so more interesting stuff for me. Geometry, modeling, and environments. So interactive brush sculpting for large topologically invariant static meshes. Wow, that's a mouthful. Okay, so I think we saw some of this, right, with the sculpting of that pillow. More robust, 4 times faster clipping and mirroring with better viewport interaction. Curve tool enhancements such as copy, paste, and accurate NURBS picking. Improved quad remeshing via guided flow and better symmetry. So this is beta 2, so this is our second iteration of the quad remesh tool that we got in Houdini 20, and it looks like it may be just a little bit better. Maybe not perfect yet, but definitely better. Convenient proximity SOP to rapidly identify neighboring points. Proximity SOP. Nice. No more near points. That's what I'm hearing. Point cloud measure SOP to augment existing point cloud toolset. So we had the new point cloud nodes in Houdini 20 that were used to basically generate meshes. It was kind of built for like photo scanning asset type stuff. So got a new tool to go with that. Point cloud measure SOP. I feel like we had that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Planar inflate SOP. So again, we saw that with the pillow. GPU accelerated volume blur SOP thanks to OpenCL option. Volume blur, nice. If anybody knows a lot about OpenCL, you should write some stuff about it or something, because I'd like to read more about it. Topology-based attribute mirroring. That is interesting. Topology-based attribute mirroring. That sounds interesting. Okay. Faster copying of attributes, intuitive and interactive quick shapes viewport tool. Quick shapes viewport tool. I'm wondering what that would be. Quality of life, improvements to path to form and chain SOP, twist-free blending to target normals with scatter and align SOP, verbified soft peak SOP suitable for inclusion in compiled networks, Laplacian SOP to compute discrete matrix needed by linear SOP solver. Linear SOP solver was new to Houdini 20. I didn't really mess with that, so not sure what all that would be used for. Enhanced Python API for richer customization of viewport interaction. I'm sure some people find that very nice. I have not messed around with a ton of Python. Advanced Biome Toolset driven by SideFX Labs Dryad Project Alpha. If you guys haven't seen, there's a bunch of tools they released with this Project Dryad. And a lot of useful stuff in there for some different things. So take a look at that if you haven't. That video is also up on YouTube. General UI and UX. Versatile recipe framework for parameter and node network presets. We saw that. Fully redesigned, more powerful middle mouse button. Node info widget pane. Oh, I didn't notice that. I feel like we saw that. I don't remember where, but I feel like we saw that. And I didn't pay any attention to it. Improved look and feel of viewport HUD widgets and panels. Ability to interrupt OpenCL kernel compilation. Okay. Improved hotkey management and much more. And now we get to Copernicus stuff. So again, beta that just rolled off screen, but it is in beta. So radically redesigned and re-envisioned COP context with over 150 nodes. Nice. Yeah, SideFX is absolutely nuts. If you guys don't know, the last update that came out was in like November, and they've added all of this in like, what, 8 months? Wild. SideFX always has the best updates of any software I've ever seen in my life. Like, they're just There's so much to them. I don't know how they do it. It's insane. They work so fast. Okay, so optimized dual cooking engine under the hood, Apex and traditional. You saw the 3ds Max 2025 update video last month. Yeah, so I didn't come from Max and Maya, but I came from Cinema 4D, and seeing the difference in updates, and even before that, I've worked with After Effects a lot, and seeing the difference in updates between those programs and Houdini is just crazy. Okay, so fast GPU accelerated image processing framework written in OpenCL. So that is everything Copernicus is running in GPU, running on your GPU, which we kind of expected, I would say, as far as the material creation goes. Flexible architecture that seamlessly brings together 2D and 3D. Again, we saw that with the baking of literal like mesh data into 3D or into the 2D context with the sweat on that guy. Images live in 3D with associated cameras. Maybe XPUs ready to replace RS. Yeah, I don't know. To me, the biggest problem with XPU, its most limiting factor is Material X. Material X is just it needs to be developed faster. I wish somebody like Side Effects would take on the development and just burn through everything that it needs really fast, and then it'd actually be useful, or more useful, I should say. You can do a lot with Material X, but it's missing. Like the biggest thing it's missing for me is a bunch of different noises and stuff. You need noises to work in 3D effectively, and yeah, not being able to edit those and make those as needed at render time is a big problem, in my opinion. That's kind of why I jumped back to Redshift. Part of why. So images, we covered real-time image manipulation within a 3D space, unrestricted access to SOP, DOP, LOP, and any op data. Nice. So this is where the real power comes in my opinion. This is the difference between like Substance and Houdini integration. Like the stuff that you're going to be able to do if this works well, right? The stuff that you're going to be able to do inside of Houdini is going to immediately far surpass anything that you will ever be able to do inside of Substance Designer. And I say that because you can do full simulations, you can do animations, anything inside of Houdini, and export that directly into Copernicus, into texture space, and then we just read that you can then export that directly into Karma without having to write to disk at all. Like the power of that is incredible. Just the power of being able to do simulations and animations and all of that into texture generation is crazy. Like that's not available inside of Substance Designer, and it's not going to be available, especially not at the scale that Houdini will allow. Absolutely mind-blowing. I cannot explain how crazy this right here is. This line right here, just incredible. And we just saw a very, very small glimpse of it. They are absolutely going after Substance, and I am glad. Okay, so direct importing of volumes, height fields, meshes, and attributes. Again, this just adds to this. Direct importing of volumes, height fields, meshes, and attributes. You can bring literally everything in from anywhere else in Houdini into Copernicus and use it to texture. Literally everything. That's crazy. Lightning fast Vulkan-based geometry rasterizer. Again, we talked about this. This is going to be where we're baking stuff using Vulkan. Noise, cell noise, unified noise, Whirly is all Material X noises 2 and 20.5. Okay. Okay. If that's all being added to Material X, then that will be fantastic. Where did you see that? Is that in here? Did I miss that? Or is that part of the, the Material X 1.38.18 update or whatever it said? Definitely, that was a big part of why I went back to Redshift. But also, another reason I went back to Redshift is because there's just the simplicity of Redshift is just so nice. Like, you can obviously still use Karma because it's part of Houdini. So having Redshift to just be able to quickly spit out stuff is awesome. And also there's like some things in Karma just don't render very fast. And like, it doesn't make, like, there's some things that I was rendering on XPU and that should have been done and cleaned up in like 5 seconds. That took like 30 seconds. And I'm just like, why is this taking so long? And it was like simple stuff. And tune, or at least beginning of it too. Yeah, but that's, if you may have missed it, I don't know if you were here earlier, but the tune stuff, that's not like a direct rendering thing. That's a compositing thing. That's an extra step afterwards. So that's going to give you a lot more control, but B, it's going to take longer to do. Okay. Kind of expected. There's a bunch of obviously missing things in it, particularly in XPU and Houdini 20. Okay. It's hard to clean up XPU's noise. It can be. Yes, it absolutely can be. And there's like, yeah, it absolutely can be. I'm just going to leave it at that. That it can absolutely be difficult to clean up the noise. Yeah, I'm glad if they're adding a lot of stuff to Houdini 20.5 as far as Material X goes, and I'm glad. Let's see. Been thinking Arnold Karma is alt build, XPU for most things, Arnold for stills, high detailed stuff. I mean, if you're used to using Arnold, if you want to use that, I mean, Arnold's a little bit slow for my opinion. And I had even more trouble. I tried to use, I tested out Arnold for like a month a couple of years ago, and I did some stuff with the GPU, or their GPU, to see how decent it was, and I wasn't really impressed. So probably for the CPU side of things, yeah, absolutely, it's a fantastic renderer. Absolutely, you can get some very nice looking stuff. But I don't know. I like Redshift. Redshift's kind of been my baby since 2017, I think. Slow but ready to go first time around. Yeah. Yep, Arnold's very good. All right. So comprehensive live round tripping mechanism via op syntax, live real-time visualization in 2D viewport, 3D viewport, and Karma. So again, I talked a little bit about this. We have the 2D view, we also have the 3D view, and then it sounds like there's some stuff that is limited to only to being displayed inside of Karma once you're rendering. So things like subsurface scattering, transmission, that type of stuff. Powerful slap comp support for both interactive and offline workflows. Interactive and offline workflows. So you're going to be able to live composite. That's what I'm seeing. Interesting. Built-in customizable framework for real-time viewport filters, robust support for video input. Again, they're kind of going after Nuke a little bit with this as well. Convenient creation of and editing of OpenCL snippets at cop level. Obviously, I say that with like a grain of salt. I just want to clarify this is not going to replace Nuke, and I know that, but you know, it gives you a very good option inside of Houdini. Hopefully, GP only got good like a month ago, but yes, mostly CPU is real, Arnold. Yeah. All right. Convenient creation editing of OpenCL snippets at cop level. Yeah, I say that like I said with a grain of salt. They're not really going after Nuke, but they're giving you an option for those people. Houdini's like that Swiss Army knife, right? You can kind of do everything in it, and this is just kind of adding to that. So, yeah, it gives you a good option to not have to buy some extra stuff. You can do a lot of it just inside of Houdini. Vex support available, but not recommended for high performance. Okay. Versatile SDF-based shape generators. We talked about that a little bit with the shape generation stuff for basically materials. Powerful 2D and 3D noise generators. Saw some of that with the noises. Ability to scatter and stamp points. Again, we looked at that a little bit as well. Tileable pattern generators with unlimited creative controls. So we saw a little bit of that as well. Interesting to see how that kind of plays out. Live real-time response to interactive texture mask painting and stops. Real-time response to interactive texture mask painting and stops. Real-time with a very small delay. I did notice that it was a little bit delayed in sometimes, but yes, mostly real-time. We saw that a little bit as well. Pretty cool stuff there as well. Procedural texture toolset with live 3D feedback. Artist-friendly material creation environment. Already some very nice things that we saw as far as materials go. Advanced edge detection and hatching algorithms. So this, again, we saw this. This is kind of that post-processing, that compositing NPR stuff, the toon shading, the non-photorealistic rendering. Low-level support for NPR/toon shading of geometry and volumes. Support for OpenFX standard to greatly expand Copernicus creative reach. Only most basic compositing in H20.5. Much more to come later. I am absolutely sure there will be. Machine learning ready via Onyx inference node and a dedicated SOP and top toolset to help automate machine learning training. I only have an ND license. I do not have anywhere near the amount of money needed for that effects license. Maybe one day. But that is that. Houdini 20.5 Paris launch June 18th, 2024. So, well, now for me at least 4 days away. So not that long that we have to wait before we get to see more on this. All those videos as normal will be available on YouTube. I would love to be able to go to Paris and watch it live, but not in the cards this year. They opened up the beta to everybody with an effects license. That's why I'm curious. Yeah, I don't have that, unfortunately. Way too expensive for what I do. I don't do this as a job. It's just kind of a hobby that I do in my spare time. Make kind of videos just to share with people. Share with people for fun. And then let's just kind of scroll back, I guess, and we can maybe look at a little bit of this. Okay, so KineFX, Apex, stuff that I don't really use all that much. Looks like it's reached beta 2 milestone. Auto rig stuff going on. Guide skeletons, interactive viewport tool. Many feature and performance UX enhancements to Apex graphs. Yeah, the indie license is, I'm gonna say it is the best, like the best value that you can get in the 3D. I guess aside from Blender, if you want to say that Blender, aside from Blender, because Blender is free, it is the best value that you get as far as 3D software goes, because it's so cheap and Houdini is so powerful. Real-time viewport filters. Does that mean we can build our own post-processing for viewport previs, essentially Eevee, but in Houdini? I'm not going to say anything yet. Maybe. I'm not sure how limited it would be. Maybe. Let's see. Animation layers, 3D motion path handles. The thing that was really interesting to me about this whole Apex stuff was the non-destructive layering that we saw with the bird. That was super cool. Okay. Fast and intuitive ability to weight joints. Let's see. Streamline ragdoll setup, more robust and complex ragdoll animation. I haven't really messed with any of this stuff, so I'm just kind of scrolling through and seeing if there's anything that, you know, sticks out to me as like, that's probably very, very awesome. Dedicated Vulkan shader for GPU accelerated skin deformation. That sounds cool. Actually, we saw this. Integrated wrinkle deformer for skin and cloth. I'm curious why they put that there. That doesn't seem like it'd be a tool that would go there. But yeah, that kind of wraps up everything that we've seen. Lots of stuff inside of this release. Tons of stuff. Definitely the thing that I'm most excited about is, dude, honestly, there's a lot. I mean, you can't deny the Copernicus is probably the biggest draw. But there's a lot of stuff in here that's really cool. I mean, the updates to the quad remesher is super cool. This, if I use this, oh my god, this is awesome. Let's just take another look at this. So we got this bird flying. And they just toggle on different layers that get different movement. How cool is that? Like, that's awesome. Like, it's non-destructive. You can just turn it on or turn it off if you want. Like, that's just awesome to me. I'm stoked for this for the people that actually use it. I think that's really sick. 20.5 is such a good release. Ton of quality life and nice updates to existing nodes. It doesn't just make hype real, but will affect people daily. They have many tools to keep track of where stuff goes. Also, did we see LOPS cameras viewable and SOPs? Yes, that's something. I mean, technically you could do that before. But yes, that is something that you can do inside of 20.5. That's something that we talked about, I think, in the end. But yes, Thomas, the nice quality of life upgrades, but also you're absolutely right. And I commented on the original video. Just the amount of things that just are going to be game changers for everyone for their everyday life. I mean, like the rigging stuff, the texture creation, the compositing stuff, you know, the karma changes, the lights there, you know, got the Solaris stuff, the instance variation, we can get to it, the multi-solver. This thing is crazy. Like, I can't even, I'm ready to see what people are going to come up with this stuff. Like, this is going to be nuts. You've got this, what seems to be, I mean, I don't know what system they're using here, but this isn't cached. You know, you don't see the blue bar. This is caching in real time, and look how fast that is. Like, this is crazy fast. Look how fast it's flying through that. That's grains, man. That's not... Those don't simulate, like, super, super quick. And when you actually look at the substeps, they're going through, like, it's like 200 substeps. And this, like, this is... this is baked out. But I'd be interested to see how quickly this plays in real time. You know? Like, I'm guessing this plays pretty dang quick in real time, even though it's got, or not real time, and well, yeah, I guess in real time, but it's not playing in real time, but I'm guessing it's simulating pretty quick. Even though you see here we have like 200 substeps. Like, I'm guessing this plays pretty quickly just based off of what we're seeing in this example alone. A slight change in people's workflow. I think if you opt in, there's no way back, yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited to see what people make with this multi-solver. Like, I think there's going to be some really cool stuff that we see coming out of this. Like, even this alone, like, I just want to download this scene and click play and just watch it. You know? And look at how well this is done, right? So you have... Let's play through this a little bit. So pay attention, especially down here with the dry versus the wet sand. Look at that. Like, it's simulating so well how the splashes would affect the dry sand. And then you've got grains up here, this sand castle that gets knocked over. Partially knocked over. You can barely see it at the end, but he knocks over this back castle piece. Like, I don't know. I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm very excited for it. What else is there? This displacement thing is interesting. I really love this render. Let's just take a minute. Who made this? I want to know who made this. Does anybody know who made this bird and who made this render? Yeah, the crazy GPU multi-solver is crazy. Whoever made this, they need a high five. Like, gold star. I love this. I love that render. What's crazy about this is that it's layered NPM solver, does not interact with flip. So I think it's a flip sim that is used as a mask for the NPM grains where they have dry and wet. Okay. But how? How is this? It's layered. Does it doesn't interact with flip? How does it not interact with flip? Because you get the grains that are pushing this water. Yeah, the grains are pushing the water. Closed separate solver. So, well, does it support like two-way coupling? Because it about has to. Because the simulation, well, I guess maybe not. Well, okay, hold on. Let's go back. I just clicked forward. Does the water push the grains around? The water's pushing the grains around. If you look here, pay attention down here. Some of the grains get thrown and they get swept around in the water. Right here. They get swept around in the water. So there's got to be some like two-way coupling or something. We'll need Ada Lovelace for the speed ups throughout your 3090s. Yeah, I'm not gonna throw away my 3090. I'll just stay slow. We talk about this. Not this, but this simulation, real time, baked into 2D. Like it says in the credits that this simulation that's happening is happening in real time baking, and we even saw some of it. Crazy. So this is that real-time painting that they said. So, well, I guess there's not as much of a delay as I felt like there was, but really stuff. So this is what they were saying with the be able to bring anything into your Copernicus, UV-based animated texture with procedural noise patterns. Well, I guess maybe they're, yeah, maybe not. They might be just running this inside of, well, maybe not. Can you, I wonder if you can, you probably can. I bet you can animate textures inside of Copernicus. I bet there's no reason to think that you shouldn't be able to like, you know, drop down keyframes inside of Copernicus. I bet you that's what's going on. Look how many different things that they made, textures that they made with this. Like such a great job of showing this off. Look how complex this is. Like someone spent a lot of time on this. A lot of time. I bet it was that person who made all the materials. Nicola. I bet it was Nicola that did this entire scene. And then this is so, like, this is the craziest part for me, is that you're having a simulation running on your geometry being transported into your material creation. You just had to look at the NPM. So as a material preset served for water. So it's all grain. Okay, so that's what I was wondering. Because if we look back here at the beginning, right? Where do they have, we just saw it. Here. Okay. Landslide, I guess. Okay, so maybe that one's not in there. But dude, that's what I said at the start was I bet you this is all grains. But grains with the different stickiness and so on. So what you're looking at is not flip. It's, yeah. All grains with different properties. That's what I was. So you're not going to get the accuracy necessarily that you would get with flip, as far as realisticness. But probably going to be a lot faster and probably a lot less data being written to disk. The wine glass example pours water from one glass to another, all grains. It's not accurate, but it's fast. But also, it doesn't look terrible. Like, this could pass, man. This could pass. Like, you got water moving around, moving the grains around. This could pass. Definitely in certain situations. I wonder, like, I wonder what type of machine Igor here has. I wonder if this is, I wonder how long this scene took to sim. Crazy stuff. I wonder, is he using, it'd be interesting if he's using crowds for this. Looks bad or is unstable. It's 100% usable. There just will be some more specific use cases where Weta says it's not accurate enough. Yeah. or what is like actually we're gonna need to rewrite a whole new solver for this so that we can get, you know, this one piece of sand to move properly, because it's gonna break the shot. This shot, whoever did this one, let's see. Oh yeah, Robin Sick. This shot is fantastic too. This is a beautiful shot. Very well done. Very well done. They had me with the satellite exploding, so I knew it was going to be good. I love space. I love space so much. Let's see, anything else missed? This wrinkle deformer looks pretty good. Open, runs really fast. Open CL. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. Haven't really messed with the machine learning. I'm also really excited for this. I really am. I think that this will be interesting to see what people do with all the different recipes and stuff that you can do with that. I wonder how well, or if that'll really kind of replace some HDA stuff. Just curious to see how that's going to play out. Yeah. Anything I missed? What do you guys think? Pretty excited for yeah, they have all their own stuff anyways. Yeah, what is crazy? Although didn't Weta get shut down by Unity that bought them, or was that just like a one specific studio? That had been one specific studio, right? Unity just like, I don't know what they're doing, man. I don't know what they're doing. That's like the Blender GeoTools. What is, Carlos? I don't know what. I'm not familiar with what GeoTools is in Blender. I'm really excited for this. I'm hoping. How long does it usually take from when they announce to release? Let me just hold on. Let me pull up like let me see if I can find the last Houdini sneak peek. Houdini 20, 7 months. 7 months ago? It ain't even been 8 months, man. And they're already releasing? What the heck? October 18th. So October 18th, we got the sneak peek for Houdini 20. On like November, like what was it? Maybe halfway through November 10th or something like that, Houdini 20 was released. Oh, the quick presets. Mid-July, yeah, early to mid-July, probably around July 10th, 15th, yeah. From 19.5 to 20 was a longer time. Yeah, I guess you're right. It was a longer time than normal. Dude, it's insane. How do you throw this much stuff into 8 months, 7 months? Not even 8 months, 7 months. I guess it'll be 8 by the time it releases. But it's already, I mean, they're still working on it, I guess. Like, it just seems like it's so much. Best updates of any company, I swear. Nothing touches it. Nothing I've ever seen. I've been, involved with 2D and 3D stuff for what? 15 years, and never seen anything like side effects. The small release was H20. They fooled us. Yeah, they're like, sometimes they're like, oh, this is a small release. Like, hold on. 20, like, wait, let's just take a second here. The half releases are supposed to be small. So if this is small, what is Houdini 21 going to have? While Autodesk, with all its money, gets showed up by a single developer. Yeah, I know. It's, they can stay in their own little world, all right? Let's just keep side effects It's little, industry secret, even though it's not really a secret, so they don't get bought up by some Autodesk or Adobe and ruined. What blows me away working with all this daily, I load up the hype reel from 17, 18, 16.5, any of them. Yeah, there's still stuff that you didn't like, dude. I feel like I just finished like going through just the stuff that I wanted to look at from Houdini 20. Like, there's so many things that I didn't touch. There's so much that I didn't touch. I didn't touch Apex at all. Like, that would take me like 6 months. Probably wouldn't take me that long. But, there's so much in there. Or like the OpenCL stuff, I really wanted to dive into some of that, but like, it's just such a time sink. There's so much stuff in there. 16.5 reel. I'm not going to watch it right now, but let's see. I jumped in. That would have been before I jumped in. I think I jumped in at 17.5. That's when I first picked up Houdini. And when I say picked up, I mean I opened the software. And then I think 18, I kind of played with it more. That's where I kind of started to learn it. And then by 18.5, I was full blown. Yeah, half release in 1 year. Yeah. All of this stuff. Like, dude, look at how much stuff there is just in like one of these sections. Like this, hold on, this where is it at? Let's see. All right, this general UI and UX, this right here, this is like at a Maxon and Autodesk update. Like, just what's in here. This is what we would get from an Autodesk update, would be like this. Yeah, properly and professionally into Houdini around 19 or 19.5. I joked at Houdini first time in 18 or maybe 18.5. Okay, maybe someone in here can answer this for me. When was the indie license created for Houdini? Because I didn't find this, like, as soon as I found out about the indie license, I was like, I'm going. That was it. Like, I knew about the software years before, but I didn't know that it had an indie license until like basically when I got it. Mac still gets updated to the bevel tool. 12 years going. Dude, Autodesk is... they're their own. They can stay in their corner. We'll stay in our side effects corner. Indie was around 18, I think. It was shortly before I started. Okay, it had to have been like 17 then, because by 17.5 they had an indie license. Is not working on Mac. What's not working on Mac? 17. Okay, so yeah, so 17 then. Like, as soon as I found out that Houdini had a indie license, I was like, I knew I had to start learning it, because I'd like seen it like years before, but I'm like, I don't have $5,000, $10,000 that it costed to get a license. Yeah, 2018. 2018. What time? Oh, I really started in 2020. That's when I really started to learn. January of 2020 was when I jumped in and started using it for like 6 months, a little bit. But then 6 months, I was like, you know what? The only way I'm going to learn this is if I literally don't use anything else. And that's what I did. Indie is that Maxon urgently needs 1K. Dude, yeah. I left Cinema 4D for Houdini in 2020. I started working in Houdini in January of 2020. And I still used Cinema 4D for like 6 months, and I was like, by 6 months, I was like, I'm using Cinema 4D for things that I know I can use in Houdini, just because I'm going back to Cinema 4D just because I know how to do it in Cinema 4D, and I don't yet know how to do it in Houdini. So I closed Cinema 4D at that point, and I don't think I've opened it since. All in is literally the only way. And there's no way of going back. I can't even go back. The reason, like, I try to explain this to people, and you really just don't get it until you do jump all in. Like, the way that Houdini works just makes so much sense. Like, yes, you can fiddle around with like the like the parameters in Cinema 4D and stuff. But if I want to make the normals point straight up in Cinema 4D, like, good luck. Like, or like, I don't know. That's a good example. Like, I don't even know how to do that, like, anymore. So in Houdini, that's so easy. Like, everything just makes so much sense. You have so much control over it. It's so hard to go back because it's just, you don't have that level of control. What's your day job? I work at a shipping company. I'm a manager at a shipping company. Left Cinema 4D in 2020 and never opened again. Yeah, like don't get me wrong. I use Cinema 4D. I started with Cinema 4D back in 2011, and I do really, I enjoyed working with Cinema 4D a lot. I think it's a great program. Don't get me wrong. Very good for new people to jump into. Better than Blender. Definitely better than Autodesk products. And somewhat easier than Houdini. And honestly, I don't think Houdini is nearly as hard as people say it is. How do you display the normals in Cinema 4D? I don't even know that you really can, other than like you can edit the normals. I can't even tell you how anymore. It's been so long since I've been open Cinema 4D. I've actually considered, like, well, I'd have to like watch stuff now because I don't have an active license and I'm not spending $1,000 on it. But I've considered making like a section of videos to for Cinema 4D users to transition into Houdini. Just because that's what I came from, and I know, like, I still know how to do some things in Cinema 4D. Some things haven't changed, and so I think it would be beneficial for some people that are maybe looking to add some Houdini into their lives, that Cinema 4D is their daily driver. But I think that once they start going in Houdini, they're going to be like, dude, why am I even working in Cinema? It's so nice. Although they've gotten some upgrades recently. Cinema 4D's gotten their solver updates, which actually that was very needed for them. Like, I'm glad for the people that actually work in Cinema 4D. Happy for them that they got those updates, because it works a lot better. Everything's a lot easier for them now. But doesn't touch Houdini. Not in my opinion. But yeah, so anything I missed, you guys saw, want to talk about? What are you guys most excited for? Cinema 4D is amazing to a point, and once you hit that point, you have zero options. You know, it really hits that point the same way. So and that's another thing that I always say is, like, Cinema 4D or Maya, whatever, it doesn't matter what you're using. Like, at some point in time, you will become limited by the software itself. That's not going to happen with Houdini. It just doesn't. There's a video online. I point to it every time I have this conversation. There is a video on YouTube somewhere. I would have to find it, but there's a video somewhere of a simulation done on Houdini of the sun. And that like blew my mind. They literally they did like the calculations of like the magnetism and stuff inside Houdini for the sun and simulated the sun, and it's like, it just blew my mind. If you can simulate the sun inside of a software in that manner, like, I don't know if it's scientifically accurate, who knows, but it good enough for me. You're the only one using Houdini at work. To keep myself from being annoying by saying, oh yeah, we can automate that in Houdini. Yeah, you can automate so much stuff in Houdini. It's so much more difficult to do in other software. Yeah, I've already got particles recently. Since you started using Houdini, I've never had to install a plugin. Yes, exactly. You don't have to install like plugins. You don't have to buy other things. Houdini just works. That's the great thing. You don't have to spend all this other money. There's definitely plugins that you can do, like mops, for example, or like there's like a hard serve, or there's like a modeler for Houdini, I think it's called. Add some quality of life stuff, but it's literally, it's like quality of life stuff. It's not, you can do it in base Houdini, but it's not like stuff that you can't do for the most part. The crowd procedural is for, do you do a lot of crowd work, Thomas? You should, if you have any crowd work, I'd like to see it. I haven't dove into crowds at all. I remember looking when that's one of the things I used to like nerd out about different things. And I remember seeing Massive back in the day, like a decade ago. And I was like, oh my God, like crowd simulations. It's awesome. And then it's just in Houdini. We need that new Karma texture baker, which wasn't shown. Or was it? Karma texture baker. I'm not sure. Everything's in 20.5 looks like it's done in Vulkan. You can bake out textures through Vulkan. You do like mop. Yeah, mops. I don't, honestly, I installed mops before I got my new workstation, and I haven't reinstalled it. I didn't even use it, to be all that honest. I didn't really use it all that much. There's a lot of stuff in there that you can do, but like for me, I like to build. I like to rebuild those things. I like the process of like for example, there's one thing that's really easy to do inside of mops, which is getting so let's say you have a simulation, right? Getting pieces to like go back like one at a time or whatever to their original location, like an RBD simulation, like a bridge collapses or whatever. Having like a reassemble animation. That's the word I was looking for. Like a reassemble animation. Super easy to do inside of mops. Not the easiest thing to do without it, but that's part of what I like to do, is like to figure out how that all works. Waiting for 2024 modeler from that guy though. Yeah, I haven't messed with it. I considered buying it, but honestly, I don't really mind the modeling tools inside of Houdini. I kind of like it quite a bit, actually. I was actually doing some modeling recently. I was working on some fun stuff. Different sci-fi stuff. Rendering a project now that I was hoping to get into this side effects reel actually to show off the crowd procedural, but I'm kind of late. Got your snow bunny in the last side effects reel. So, okay, so do they just give the betas to people that have effects licenses, and then they pull, like, there's somewhere for you guys to like post stuff? Is that how this works? Yes, Vulkan is the default viewport in 20.5. Sounds like that's going to have a lot to do with all of the the cop stuff. Enabled by default. Vulkan. What does it mean how it works on RTX cards? Vulkan viewport. Have they added? Yes. Okay. So yes, it's by default. Vulkan is enabled. We have Vulkan in Houdini 20. I don't think the Vulkan is necessarily. I know it's like originated with AMD. Sorry, I was just listening. I'll check the weather real quick. I feel like got more storm rolling through. There's a really bad storm rolling through. It sounds like there's more thunder going on outside. Oh my god. What is this? The heck is this? This is not the radar. I think I'm alright. Okay. There's an alpha and a beta that goes for many months, and they have finally started working with artists to create nice art to show off the features instead of the programmer art we used to have. Yeah, I don't know. Part of me, like, if I was doing this full time, I would love to get in on that stuff. I would love to get in on that stuff and actually work with the stuff and, do that. But I just don't think I'd have the time. Like, it's hard just getting videos out, to be honest with you. As I've gotten older, I got kids and family, and I got to spend time with them and work, and it's hard to balance it all. So I don't know if I would have time to really mess with any of the new stuff and still get out videos, because obviously you can't post Houdini 20.5 content when stuff is not released. Okay, you won Mardini in 2023. Well, that is sick. Congratulations for you. I entered like one day. A lot of people make some crazy stuff in Mardini, and I'm always blown away by this stuff. So yeah, I probably have seen some of your stuff and been like, dang, I wish I could make something cool like that. People in Houdini just always make crazy stuff. It's funny, I saw someone talking about that the other day. They're like, every time I see someone's work in Houdini, it's like, why am I not using this tool? Like, everyone that makes stuff, and I'm just like blown away by everything that they do. And I agree. Everyone seems to just make such great work in the community. It's crazy. Very good with community these days. So if you make something cool, they're happy to work with you and use it, etc. Yeah, I think that's good. They've done a lot. The one thing I feel like they still need to improve on. I feel like the biggest issue with Houdini is it's got this stigma around it, right? It's very difficult to learn, and I think it's a horrible thing, because I don't think it's that hard to learn. I really don't. It takes time, and it takes a lot longer to get to a point where you'd say that you're like a master. I wouldn't even say that you can even be a master of Houdini. You can be a master of a part of Houdini, I would say, or multiple parts of Houdini, but it's just such a massive tool that it's hard to be a master of it all. And I think that they need to try to really break that stigma. And while they've got these great projects, the Dryad and all those other things, I don't think that they're doing. I don't think that's the right way to go about like trying to create learning content. I think that Cinema 4D or Maxon or whatever is doing a very good job right now with their Maxon learning, like whatever it's called, that they're running, where they're doing these streams and stuff, and they're teaching, they're going through the projects, and they're teaching people these things. And I think they're doing a very good job for their new users, or like getting people exposed to things that they maybe haven't done before. And I think that's really where SideFX is lacking. And I think that they're trying. I'm not going to say that they're not trying. They do have a learning team or whatever. But I think they're going about it in the wrong way. And I think that it's hurting them. And I think that if they can manage to break the stigma that Houdini is, it's so hard. Like, I see it all over Reddit, and I see it all over the places. Oh, Houdini's so hard to learn. Houdini's so hard to learn. People just start in the wrong spots. Like, they try to just simulate stuff right away. And I think that that's obviously not the best way to try and learn Houdini. So, you need to understand the basics first, and really the basics start with understanding attributes, since they're used for everything. But even beyond that, I think if they focused on that they would see a huge influx into people using Houdini, because it's not that hard to learn. People are just scared of it. Once they break that stigma, if they can break that stigma, then I think it would really take off, and people would see, they'd see these updates that we're seeing right now and be like, holy crap, like, what are these other companies doing? They've got all this money and all these developers, and they're just not doing anything. Anyways, okay, Carlos, I'm not a dev. Do you know why they rely so much on OpenGL for real-time stuff? I thought the big deal was using CUDA nowadays. I'm also not a dev, man. But it's just kind of what everything's been built upon, was OpenGL and OpenCL. So they try to make it better as time goes on. I think that's why they're moving to Vulkan. It's because it can provide better performance. On Mac, when I launch, I get error. A license could not be found on this to run this application. I don't know. Don't know how to help you on that. I don't use Mac. I don't really care for Apple. Hot take. Walled garden. Houdini isn't difficult at all, but it helps a lot if you have a specific problem you need to solve. I started using Houdini only to do booleans because it was amazing, and Mac sucked at it. I do think that Houdini's booleans are very good. I do really like their booleans. Slowly, node by node, you start to understand what is going on. Yeah, absolutely. I think that people should start by trying to build a procedural asset. I think that's a really great way to learn Houdini, in all honesty. Even if you fail. Like, the first things I started to try to build were like rocks. Like, they're not hard. Not hard. I'm not gonna say they're not hard. They're not super complex. They're kind of simple, but it exposes you to a lot of different things inside Houdini, and I think that really helped me to learn. I have to disagree with that. SideFX learning material is top notch. They need to reinforce the basics are crucial to learning Houdini. No, I'm not saying that their learning material is not top notch. I think their learning material is absolutely fantastic. They do a great job with it, but like, they're focusing on like a whole, like, very complex project, like the Project Dryad or whatever. Like, that's a complex project. That's too much for people that are just starting out, is what I'm kind of saying. I will get a PC ASAP. Yeah, I mean, if you're having issues, reach out to SideFX. They're very good with helping out with problems. I've had a couple issues that they've worked out very, very quickly for me. Rocks and tables, the way forward. Dude, I can't find it. I watched a video when I first started. This guy made a procedural, like, torch holder, and oh my god, he did such a good job with that. There was so much involved in that. It was just like, man, this guy really knows what he's doing. And there's a lot of things that I don't remember from that I wanted to remember how to do. I do think there are a lot of early H19 and 19.5 tutorials that need to be removed from the web, however. Yeah, I don't want to say that. There's stuff that's outdated, yes. But I don't like removing stuff from what's out there because, and this is a problem that a lot of people face. And I think this is also a problem why people don't, part of the problem as to why people don't learn Houdini very easily is because when people watch things, they don't watch to like learn. They're watching wrong. When people watch tutorials, they're watching wrong. They're not like seeking to actually understand why things are being done. Like if I place, if I want to make some geometry that's, undulating terrain or whatever, I place down like a grid, and then I place down a mountain node, and then I would change the settings. But why are you doing that? Okay, well, the grid's your base terrain. Mountain node is how you apply noise, but you can also do it in a different way. What is the mountain node doing in the background? The mountain node has actually been changed to just an attribute noise now, right? So you're just displacing the points based off of a noise pattern. And if people had that mindset of like, why is things being done or what's being done in the background, then I think that they would learn things a lot better. And so going back to older videos, I think there's a lot of things that you can learn from how people are doing things, like their mindset of like, what am I doing? What is this person doing? And why are they doing that? Okay, this isn't the method that's used now, but maybe I can take a piece of that and that thinking and apply it to my project now. And that's what I do with a lot of things. Is I may not, I get lost and don't know what to do, do Googling or whatever, and I find something like, okay, I'm not gonna take this whole project, but I can take a little piece of this and apply it to the project that I'm working on, and it's gonna help me move forward. Okay, yeah, I'm about to jump off here too. It's getting pretty late. Enjoy your pizza. I'm jealous. Pizza, love pizza. 20.5, share thoughts. Feel free to find me on Discord. Are you in my Discord, Thomas? You should join my Discord if you have not. Blender for low polymodeling, ZBrush for creature modeling, Substance Painter for texturing, and Houdini as the main software for everything. Yes, absolutely. You can do anything. I don't know about Blender for... and just stay in... Well, yeah, I guess modeling, yeah, you do traditional modeling very well in Blender. Blender does have a lot of good modeling tools. I'll give them that. ZBrush is definitely the organic king. I don't even want to talk about their updates. Oh god, their updates are lackluster for quite some time. Yeah, so there should be a link in all of my videos in the description of this as well, if you want to jump in the Discord. Great learning resource have been lost. There's Adrian Lambert. Adrian Lambert, he closed his YouTube. What? Really? Is that so? Adrian Lambert. Wow. Yeah, I don't see any of his stuff up. Why? Well, that's a shame, because yeah, he did have some stuff that I thought was really good for new people, especially in the USD. Wow. You know why? That is, I would say that's a big loss because he had actually he had a USD video that I was kind of interested in watching just because I'm not super in depth with a lot of the USD terminology and stuff, and I know that he knows what he's talking about with that. So I was just gonna familiarize myself a little bit more with somebody that I knew that they were what they were talking about. Why he closed it? Does anybody know why he closed it? Does any of his other stuff, like, I don't even remember what all he had. Add up. Anyways, yeah. So that's a look at everything in the trailer, guys. Very excited for everything to come. Can't wait to jump into. This is gonna be so much fun. This is gonna like take up so much time to learn. Really is. Like you're just gonna get lost in material creation. Excited. I'm not doing this stuff though. Look at that. Look at how much detail is in there. Is ArtStation still there? Huh, I'm curious why he closed it. Maybe it got booted or something. I don't know. Maybe he was forced to. He might have been forced to. Maybe he posted something from his. It's too close to his job. And they were like, hey, we don't like what you're doing. That's a real possibility, unfortunately. They're like, hey, you're explaining stuff that we don't like. Making it too good for our competition. But yeah. This is going to be fun indeed. Be interesting to see what everyone does with those. Yeah. Makes some good stuff for sure. Johan. All right. Well, I think we will go ahead and wrap it up. It is pretty late here, so we will keep our eyes out for the 18th. 18th. Get some more. He mentioned it was related to AI being trained on YouTube videos and not meeting his expectations on growing the channel. I mean, you're not going to stop it. It's going to be trained on everything that's on the internet, unfortunately, whether you like it or not. But unfortunately, as far as the growth goes, I mean, Houdini, unfortunately, is just kind of somewhat of a niche. Like if you want to grow quickly, you have to swap to partial Blender and Unreal. It's what everyone wants to go with now. They want to get that free stuff, which everybody's financial situations are different, and unfortunately, the world is moving very quickly to things costing a lot. But AI, embrace AI, yeah. If you're not going to embrace AI, if you haven't figured out by now that AI is not going to go anywhere, and that you're going to need to learn to work with it and around it, then you need to rethink everything that you're doing. Anyways, yeah. So the 18th is what they said as far as the launch. And I guess we'll see more then. Bunch of videos I'm sure will go up, so keep an eye on Houdini's channel. Probably won't cover any more of that like in a stream like this, but I'll definitely be watching stuff. I'm sure that they'll have their normal, big presentation, and we'll see a bunch of cool stuff. I'm sure we'll see more of this stuff. I got a feeling they're gonna focus a lot on this, and then they'll probably focus a lot on this as well, this npm solver. So see some cool stuff coming in the next few days. Anyways, yeah, have a good evening. If you guys haven't watched my last video, I've been kind of uploading on Thursdays instead of Tuesdays like I have been for a long time. Lots of Vex and Bops stuff recently, but wrapped up our intro to Karma in Solaris. So that whole kind of thing is up, just kind of one-off videos on that. Going forward, cover some different things. The last video was on rehashing the proxies. So if you guys haven't taken a look at that and you want to learn more about proxies, then definitely take a look at that. But thank you guys for hanging out with me and chatting. It was fun learning a lot about what is coming to Houdini. Very exciting times. Very exciting times in a very short period of time since the last update. Thank goodness for side effects. But everyone have a good night, and keep an eye out for stuff coming in the future. Have a good night, guys.